All right, it's time. It's that time again to look at one of the 6 driving inquiry questions or essential questions of our studies of IB economics. Okay, this is the last one, and it's number 6 in terms of the overall IB economics curriculum. But for us, as we are beginning our studies of the development economics section of our studies of the global economy, this is the global economy real world issue or question number 2, okay? Now let's go back. What were they? It might have been a long time ago since you looked at those, okay? The 6 questions, 2 of them have to do with micro, and those had to do with consumer and producer behavior. And also the government intervention and how effective it is in managing taxes, subsidies, market failures, market power. Those are the first 2, okay? The third driving question of this IB economics course had to do with economic activity and why it varies and why we care. Remember, why like these, okay? The fourth question had to do with how it is that the government manages its macroeconomy. Remember, that's fiscal and monetary policy, the 2 tools of economic management, demand side, supply side. You remember those? Of course you do, okay? And then in our studies here in the global economy, we looked at the 6th or the 5th question had to do with the winners and the losers the winners and the losers of the world's economic integration, which of course has to do with international trade, which is part of the international subset of this course. And now we're on question number 6, which is number 2 for our studies of the global economy. And here is the question. Why is economic development uneven? Why like these? Why is it that economic development is uneven from one country to another? Right? I lived in Nicaragua, as you know by now by listening to this whole course. It's like, you know, you drive across the border and immediately from leaving Nicaragua to going into Costa Rica, you can tell it's different. First of all, the road's better paved. People have electricity. All of a sudden you're noticing these little things like there's satellite dishes outside of people's houses. And it's like, oh, this, and oh, all of a sudden you're seeing that almost all these houses in the countryside have cars, but in Nicaragua they don't. They have horses and like, blah, 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 right? So if you've had the luxury of traveling this world, you've seen it, right? And if you do have the luxury of traveling this world and you haven't, grab a backpack and go. Because economic development is alive everywhere. And it's very, very uneven. And it's very uneven for a whole bunch of reasons, most of which have to do with geographic luck and dominance by foreign powers, okay? So economic development, and you'll see as we go through this unit, this development economics, this subset of the global economy, you're gonna see that like this really touches your heart, right? And when you see, humans are the same. Humans are the same. We are the same thing. And what motivates, a campesino, a farmer in the countryside of the Dominican Republic, who are my good friends when I was in the Peace Corps, is that they want to love one another, love their children, and make their children's lives a little bit better than theirs was. And my motivations as a kid coming from the United States, now being an international teacher in Santiago, Chile, is just to make the lives of those around me a little bit better as they move on in this world that we live in, right? So the motivations of humans are very, very similar, okay? But then, why is economic development so uneven? And that's the driving question for our studies of development economics, which is a subset of this overall idea of the global economy, okay? So, as we've done with the other 5, what are the conceptual understandings? These are the sort of like truths underneath this question of like, why is economic development so uneven? Okay. Perceptions of the meanings of development and equity change over time and vary across cultures. Number 2, governments and other economic agents may intervene in an attempt to promote economic well-being and equity in societies. Number 3, the pursuit of sustainability is subject to various constraints. That's for sure. And number 4, effective strategies should take account of the relevant social, economic, and political context upon which they are built, okay? So effective strategies for social, economic, and political context, like that's pretty hard, right? Just like oftentimes you may see in your household, like it's difficult to manage the house equally. Well, if you think about social, economic, and political context of something, even of a household, it's pretty hard. But imagine like a society, then imagine a global economy, it's even harder, okay? So these conceptual understandings are the underpinnings of this question that drives our studies of development economics, which is, why is economic development so uneven? Super cool. And of course, littered in these conceptual understandings are some of the 9 central themes or concepts of the IB economics curriculum, which is equity, economic well-being, equity again, and sustainability. And if you forgot, let me just help you remember that the 9 central themes of IB economics are scarcity, choice, efficiency, equity, economic well-being, sustainability, change, interdependence, and, you know it, government intervention, or just intervention, okay? So there you have it. That's the 6th driving real-life issue or question of inquiry underneath all of your studies of IB economics. Remember them. 2 of them have to do with micro, 2 of them have to do with macro, and 2 of them have to do with the global economy. And now we're ready for further studies on this notion of why is it that development across the world is so uneven, and when you finish this unit, you will be so well informed to understand why. And I'll see you in the next video.